Well, joining me now is Chaz Spradbery, who is the Operations Director at Peritus. Welcome to SUBSEA EXPO.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit, will you please, about Peritus to begin with.
Yeah, sure. So Peritus is a really nice, small, niche engineering consultancy. We do subsea pipeline design, structures and offshore cables as well. I guess if you were going to push me, I'd say that we are probably one of the most experienced deepwater pipeline design companies out there. We've got a brilliant engineering team, and we've recently moved towards taking that oil and gas expertise as well and started doing stuff in offshore wind too.
Well, I was just going to ask you that, where Peritus fits in with the whole energy transition and the journey towards net zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant time to be in the subsea industry. So not only is the oil and gas sector particularly strong at the moment, but in terms of energy transition, for instance, we're working on the Aramis project, which is a 200-kilometre, 32-inch subsea pipeline, which is a CO2 pipeline, which will take approximately, I think, 50% of all of Holland's carbon dioxide emissions. So that's a really big, exciting project to be working on. And alongside things like floating wind projects, which are at the earlier, kind of more conceptual stages as well. So we're doing a lot in energy transition as well as your more typical oil and gas stuff.
But when you mention oil and gas there, of course, we're now in an environment where we have pretty ageing assets, and I know that's an area that Peritus work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of aging assets out there. Some of these are being repurposed for potentially for CO2 use and for hydrogen use, but also a lot of them are having their lives extended. So there's a lot of work that goes into asset life extension, assessing the condition that pipelines, for instance, are currently in, and then working out how their life can be extended. What else can you use them for? Can you change the pressure? Can you change the temperature? You know, how much more can you get out of them? Really squeezing the neck of what is already there.
Pretty challenging.
Yeah, but really interesting.
Very interesting. Tell me some more of these interesting projects that you've been involved with, the company's been involved with.
So I guess the nice thing about being a kind of niche consultancy is we get involved in a huge range of projects. So, for instance, we've done the Middle East to India deepwater pipeline, which is 1,200 kilometres long, 3,500 metres deep. So massively interesting project. Or you compare that with, say, doing some wind farm cables in maybe 25 metres of water, but on rocky grounds, and then actually they're having issues keeping those cables still. So we can apply the engineering expertise into the kind of the very deep water, the very shallow water. And we also do, because we're a niche consultancy, we are involved in a number of joint industry projects to try and move the industry forwards and move the knowledge and understanding forwards as well. So recently we've been involved in developing a new code for subsea cables. This is a British standard, and this is for looking at cables on rocky seabeds and how to stop them from moving, and just to try and remove some of the conservatism in existing design codes. And that's one thing, I guess, one area in terms of all the challenging projects is that you will have, when you start to go beyond what is considered normal or easily achievable, then you have to start removing conservatism and going beyond the codes and really, doing some proper detailed analysis to work out what will survive in those conditions.
I can tell by your face and the way you speak about it, you're tremendously excited about the work that you do. Looking to the next 12 months or to the end of 2024, what sort of projects do you expect to be involved in coming months?
So, more CO2 and carbon capture projects. We've done 3 or 4 of those now, and that seems to be an area that is growing quite rapidly, and there seems to be political will behind it as well to make it happen. Probably a few limited floating wind projects. They tend to be for us in the more conceptual side of things, so that's design of dynamic cables and that kind of stuff. And then the traditional oil and gas stuff, subsea pipeline design, subsea structures, is continuing as well. Hydrogen pipelines seem to be on the horizon, but I think there's a few more issues with those. So we've done a couple of hydrogen pipelines, and we may get 1 or 2 more projects coming up, but I think the CO2 will be the big one, and the traditional oil and gas still.
Well, I hope to catch up with you in another 12 months' time and find out more of if this has actually come to pass, or more hydrogen we'll see in 12 months. It's good to discuss this with you. That's for joining us.
I'd really enjoy that.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.